Hello everyone, today we're taking a look at the Air65 from Betafpv. Essentially, on these, everything is the same except for the KV of the motors. They have a new Air all-in-one. This is the 4-in-1. They did note that there'll be a 5-in-1, which includes the expressless receiver sometime later. Don't know how long that will take. Note, there isn't a micro USB port down here. We just have that little connector, and they do ship with the adapter, which is USB-C. The camera on both of them is the Betafpv C03. This is the freestyle version. Note the F. I wrote that on there. The motors are 0702 SE 23,000 kV on the Freestyle Edition. And on the Race Edition, they are still 0702 SEs, but they're 27,000 kV. It does come with an extra canopy, the pre-mentioned USB adapter for your Betaflight configuration, an extra set of props, and a support card. In all my flights, I use these Betafpv Lava 300 milliamp batteries with the BT20 connector on them. But they do now have a smaller version, the 260 milliamp per hour. This would be for those people that are possibly just wanting to go a little bit faster with a little less battery weight, and you don't need extra flight time. Maybe you're going to a tiny whoop event. The freestyle version weighs just a touch over 17 grams, and the race version just a touch more. That could be within the margin of error. They're nearly identical. The 300 milliamp battery weighs 8.23 grams. The 260 milliamp version weighs just a touch over 7 grams. So in this first set of flights, these first two flights, I guess more appropriately, we are of course looking at the freestyle version. This is the Air65F, as you see there in the top of the center OSD. And the thing that I think is going to come up a lot if you're interested in either one of these is which one should I get? I think if you're asking that question, it's very likely that you should just get the freestyle version. You know, they're identical frames. The weights are essentially identical. The only difference is the KV. You'll get a little bit more top-end performance in the higher KV. Say if you're flying outside. If you are a racer, you probably know you want the higher KV. But I think for most of us, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of playing this indoor freestyle version first. You can race the freestyle version. You can freestyle the race version. It's really just about, do you want to go for flight time? Or do you want to go for that top-end performance? So if you want the top-end performance, you want to go faster, flight times isn't your goal, then the race edition. If you want to go longer on your flights and you don't need the extreme top end, freestyle version. I think they'll both be fine. I think if you're asking that question, you probably should get the freestyle version. So obviously inside, at least with my skills in my house, you can race it around. It's good fun. I think one of the things that people are going to ask me quite a bit about is this compared to the Mobula 6 2024 edition. Again, I think they're very comparable. It may come down to which one can you get your hands on, because we've got a lot of products that is continuing to be difficult to buy. We're seeing fewer and fewer VTXs being available, as that VTX chip shortage is a real thing. I've actually had these. I've had 2 iterations of these. I think it's been like 7 weeks or something like that. And so hopefully these products are going to be launching, or I'm told they're supposed to be launching, and they're available. And there'll be a link down in the video description to the Betafpv website, and you can take a look at the price, because at this moment I don't know the price. That could be a differentiating factor between this and any other product like it, is the price. I just don't know. Unfortunately, I can't feed you that information right now. Outside is where I did a main part of my flight testing as far as the flight time goes. And there's about a 20 to 25 second difference on the 300 milliamp battery between the Freestyle Edition and the Race Edition. There's, of course, some variables there. That's one of the many reasons why I say between 20 and 25. And I'm only going to show the Race Edition outside, because I think that's really, for most of us, the only place you'll really see a difference. You'll feel a difference inside. It'll be really hard to see. But you can see there we finished up the flight, 2 minutes and 50 seconds, and our battery has recovered up to almost, well, it did hit through 3.6 for a moment, but yeah, could have gone another 5 seconds or so probably. Outside we go. I should note the winds. I did have some winds on this particular day. Again, this is the Freestyle Edition. Winds 10 to 14 miles per hour, but honestly, even though this was quite a while ago, one of the things I wrote in my notes is I really couldn't tell there was that much wind. So, you know, the wind measurement and actually feeling it on my skin in the backyard, or as I went down on the grass and I had to walk around, anything like that, it really wasn't that strong. So if you're wanting to fly one of these outside, whatever your space is, the winds need to be low, otherwise you're going to be fighting it a bit. And this flight is going to have several crashes in it, and I chose this one intentionally because one or two of these crashes actually come on the cement. And that was something I wanted to show you, was a durability factor. I've also got a very minor, I would almost call it brief crash reel I will be including in the video. But again, if like inside, when I can turtle mode out and continue to fly, those are crashes that are kind of tedious to find. So I've tried to find a few of those, but so just know that as far as the crash reel that's coming up when we get to the desk review, that there was way more crashes than that. Because again, I've had 2 iterations of these for maybe 2 months. Of course, I'm not showing you the prototypes. I don't even know what the exact difference between the prototypes they initially sent versus these production ones. So I think there was probably a slight board change. There may have been a gyro change. I'm not certain. I don't tend to really have elaborate lines of communication with the manufacturers until the video is done. I just want to keep this all my own thoughts. I don't want something to inadvertently sneak into my own mind and come out my mouth and kind of misrepresent things. So I keep that communication pretty low. But as you can see, it can do all my traditional maneuvers that I do in the backyard. Some of you may call that freestyle. Some of you may not. There's some of my flight style is kind of more of a racing format, and some of it's just kind of I don't know, I want to say farting around out in the yard, just having a good time doing the things that I can do and repeat. There's a chimney dive, I think, in the rest version where I did a much better job judging the angle and the amount of throttle and how long I had to get on the throttle in order to be able to take myself from that corner section of the yard over towards the chimney, so I can kind of do a chimney dive. I think I've done that in other videos. I just don't do it a lot. It just doesn't occur to me sometimes. I'm not trying to impress anyone with my particular flight skills. I think most people would say after 9 years of FPV, this is all you can do. Of course, that's our second crash. I did come down, to me it looked like I came down flat on the cement, so pretty minor, just kind of finishing out the battery here. Going to circle around, doing a little close proximity, and I think I have another crash. Again, it'll be minor compared to the first crash. Yeah, hit a lawn chair, going to turtle mode, and then we'll be finishing up this flight. You can see I'm pushing 3 minutes on this particular flight as we get closer and closer to that 3-minute marker, and I'll be coming in here shortly as I go around the area I call the cabana, or cabana as my kids say it's supposed to be pronounced. There, 308. Battery's coming up. I probably went 5 seconds too long, so let's just say 3 minutes. Now we're going into the race one. This is obviously a different day. Actually, this is a different time of day even. This would be kind of an after work flight, and so the sun's a little bit different. I didn't necessarily pick that, but I guess we get to judge the camera in a sunnier day versus maybe a little bit less sun or a lower sun day. That C03 camera. You can see the yards in a little bit of different shape as well. And this is, I really included this, it's almost redundant, but the different KV, I think if you can tell a difference, or if any of us can tell the difference, it's going to be more noticeable in the bigger maneuvers outside, because you can get that top end performance because of that extra KV of the motor on the race edition. So again, if you like to go fast and you like to give it the beans, as some say in FPV, where flight time is not your priority, yeah, I would just get the race edition. If flight time is your priority, get the freestyle edition. Again, they can both do both sorts of flight styles, and any other flight style that might be out there too. This is going to come in, I think this one ends at about 2 minutes and 40 seconds, or 2:38, 2:39. It's escaping me now. I've seen it too much flight footage has been viewed today. But, you know, proof of concept, doing the typical things. I can't remember if I did a power loop in this one or not. I think I did in the other one, but I don't know that I did this one. This one has the better slight chimney dive. I get close at the end. I didn't start out very close, but, yeah. I plan to do that a little bit more because that's kind of a fun thing to pop above the chimney. I had another quad that I was working on where I crashed into the top of the chimney, and it was not a tiny whoop. It was a 2.5-inch 4S quad, so that kind of beat it up a little bit. Didn't break it, but I'm sure it didn't do it any favors either. Again, if you're asking about the 260 mAh batteries, they're probably not for you. Those would be for our racers. You know, you get a little extra agility. Betafpv, they claimed you get 4 minutes of flight time on those batteries, but that's really what kind of flight time is that? So I usually don't repeat those sorts of things because there are too many variables we don't know. Hovering? Are you racing? Are you pegging the throttle? Are you doing 4-second punch outs over a tree, a house, whatever? How often are you on the full throttle? Are you doing close proximity real slow? Are you just cruising in a gymnasium or something like that? So I don't buy that for a second that, at least for my flight style, that I would get anywhere near that. I did a couple of flights on it just to kind of feel if it was something for me. I really couldn't tell that much of a difference. I'm not that sensitive to that particular weight. Okay, flight finished up 2:39. I hope I said that and I'd be right. Could have gone a few more seconds. As we can see, the battery's at 3.55, 3.56. There isn't really a lot to cover. I can't think of any questions that might pop up that people might have, other than, I showed you the bottom of this and the quick specs intentionally because this does not have any motor connectors. So that's one of the ways they're able to keep this low. Obviously, it has a UART on it, which you can use at least for one UART for an expressless receiver. I presume the 5-in-1 is going to have still another receiver or a UART, excuse me, available for whatever purpose you might use. They do list these as 1S boards, so don't plan on running these on 2S or anything like that. I did have one camera that I damaged pretty heavy, and it didn't break the camera physically. It's actually sitting over here in this canopy. And I don't know what this is from. It's kind of why I'm bringing it up, so I can learn something from anyone that might know. It had like an electronic print. Let me see if I can find it and I can put it up here. But I apparently had hit the camera because this one day it started appearing that it has this electronic print that you can kind of see through it at certain times, depending upon the light. Sometimes the print isn't shown there, but sometimes the print is. It was pretty peculiar. I don't know why that is. It looks like components that are on the backside of the sensor, potentially. I've never seen that before, so anyone who might know what that is, I'm just curious to learn. I'm not looking to fix the component. I just wanted to know if anybody'd seen that before and what it is. Obviously, as far as durability goes, mine have held up fine. Again, I've had them a long time. I've had them on so many flights. It's a little bit confusing because I had prototypes before these, so I can't give you any numbers. But all I can tell you is that these have been the ones I fly around for the last, well, since I received them, whenever that was, whether that's been 3 weeks or 4 weeks or more than that. I fly 2 batteries before I go to bed. If you don't know, it's just kind of something I do. I pretty much stay here in the basement and just kind of do some fun stuff in the basement. It's kind of my relaxation before I end my day. And these are the 2 that I've been flying. Outside of the flights that I've been flying all over the house and recording for review purposes, they've also seen those pre-bedtime flights. You can tell this one's got all sorts of grass stains in it. Yeah, I tried to turtle mode a few times. It didn't work out very well, of course. We got that nice, thick, lush grass. But one of the reasons why I test that is because for a time, at least, with these 1S boards, if you turtle mode and the prop was stuck, you would oftentimes blow an ESC. Or burn an ESC would be another way of putting it. So when I turtle mode in the grass and I get things kind of stained up like this, it's a little bit of a proof of concept that the ESCs are at least some level of robust. I think if you're extreme, and I'm a little bit surprised they didn't include the Betafpv has their own Rennie screws that you can pick up as well. Just shave off a touch of weight on the motor screws. Of course, that's ×3. I don't think we even get a full gram. Maybe it is a gram that we get. I can't remember the last time I did that, where I replaced metal with the Rennie screws. But if you're interested in shaving whatever amount of weight that is, the Rennie screws are on Betafpv's site as well. Nearly forgot, I do have another board. I think this is the prototype, but when I look at them, I visually compare them. I'm not seeing any differences, but I need to make that kind of that disclaimer. Actually, we're looking at the right side there. This could be a prototype board. I don't think it is, though, but we're going to give it a shot. We're going to weigh it up, and we'll take a little finer look at it for those people that want to see and know these particular things. Keep in mind, this does have the rubber grommets in it as well, so that could cause a weight difference between anything else you might see. 4.65 grams on my scale with the antennas and the grommet. And a little bit of a finer look at the layout. You can pause for a longer view. And the other side of the board for good measure as well. And almost forgot we were going to do a comparison. Again, these are about 17 grams flat. I've got my Mobula 6 2024 edition. This does have some minor mods. I've got the Rennie screws. I did kind of a 90-degree angle on the battery lead here, and I have some different props than what it ships with. So not stock necessarily, but let's see. I can't even remember. So this one comes in at a 0.5 gram more. So if you're an extreme performance snob, like some people are, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like performance too. Then you got to go with the Air65. I mean, because a 0.5 gram is significant when you're talking about 17 grams versus 17.5 grams. And this is with the Rennie screws. So you can save some weight by using Rennie screws over here. Excuse me, that was out of frame. Use the Rennie screws over here, and you'll get below 17 grams. So, yeah. As far as how they fly, I felt they flew very, very similar. I thought the tune on the Betafpv products was actually a little bit better. Yeah, I just think they did a better job on the tune out of the box than the Mobula 6. That's just me. That's just one guy. That's just my opinion. It could come down to what can you get your hands on. You know, are these going to sell out like hotcakes? You know, Tyrant's Freestyle Bootcamp 101, link in the video description, is coming up shortly, starting July 25th. That's a great learning opportunity, an opportunity to join in with others. Maybe you want to get yourself a fresh whoop for that. Which one can you get? Maybe that's the determining factor. But I think if you're just wanting something out of the box and you're just asking me between these, which one do you get? I think you have to go with the lower weight Air65s. Another factor that I just thought of is price point. You know, if you can get them both, where are they priced at? Maybe that 0.5 gram doesn't matter to you. Maybe there's a new tune that I'm unaware of that came out for the Mobula 6 2024 edition that tightens things up just beautifully. Maybe. I mean, it's still really good fun. Although I will say I prefer 75 millimeters, even though some people say it doesn't fly outside or inside good. I completely disagree with that. My opinion is 75 millimeter is the way to go, but I understand the small package in the traditional tiny whoop format of 65 millimeter. But I would love to see both of these companies make 75 millimeter editions for even more flight time, more power, more fun. But if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise, please let me know about the Air65, freestyle or race, either one, down in the comments section below. Don't forget about Tyrant's Pro Whooper Bootcamp 101. Also a link down in the video description. Get started with that competition, win some prizes, have fun with others. I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching. I think my youngest may have scratched me tonight when we were roughhousing.